As Srinjoy continues to be with us, we talk about this another shooting incident that has now been reported in the United States of America, and that too right outside the White House. Now, what is being said that a reported gunman shot dead. He was neutralized after opening fire near the White House security checkpoint. A bystander was also injured, while President Trump, who was inside the White House, remained unharmed. Now, the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the United States Secret Service are said to be investigating this incident. However, this is not for the first time such kind of a security scare that has now been reported, that too outside the White House. Let's get you a breaking update, what we are learning, especially when it comes to accessing a certain video, which shows the very moment when shots were fired near the White House. Now, this 21-year-old suspect, identified as Nasire Best, he had opened fire around 6:10 p.m. local time when this video was captured. However, this area that is always buzzing and it is a high security zone, he was immediately neutralized.
Deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart. Deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
Well, the exact motive, Srinjoy, that still remains unclear of the suspected gunman who's been immediately neutralized. But again, this is not one of the first incidents that is being reported, that too outside White House. And of course, when it comes to the recent security breach that had also happened during the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
What were his motives? Did he really want to enter the White House? Was he really keen on attacking anyone in the White House? We don't know that as yet. All we need to know is his motive, and was he acting alone? At this point, his motives are not known. It's entirely possible from what has happened so far that he was acting alone and he was mentally unstable. That said, he was quite a distance away from the White House. The 17th Street is a brisk walk away from the gates of the White House. So he was not in the White House. He was not in the compound of the White House. He was a distance away when he fired, and he was neutralized, as you said. So why he did what he did remains to be worked out. Surely investigators are looking into all his records. First of all, was the gun legally his? Who did he actually buy it? Where? And all of that will be looked at. So we will know much more about him in the next few hours.
Absolutely, because, Secret Service officials immediately acted upon preventing the gunman by returning a barrage of fire, what was being said according to reports, and he was injured and taken to the hospital where the doctors thereafter declared him dead. But this is now coming across as far as concerning that America continues to witness such kind of repeated incidents of shooting even in highly secured areas. And, Srinjoy, this is a concern, especially near critical government buildings. And we are talking about President White House, one of the most secured and closely guarded individuals in the world.
Undoubtedly, the point is that this assailant was carrying a handgun, a pistol, a revolver, something similar, not, let's say, an AK-47. Now, the rules in the United States allow people to buy an assault rifle. Yes, it's true, you can walk into a shop and buy an assault rifle in parts of America. Now, this is something that is extremely worrying. A lot of people want to end it, but a lot of people believe that the Americans have the right to bear weapons. So as a result, it's much easier to buy weapons in America than, let's say, in India. There's hardly any comparison between buying a weapon in America and buying one in India, for instance, or many other countries.
Yes.
So it's so easy to buy a weapon. Here is a 21-year-old man, unstable, as we are hearing, who has a pistol in his hand, is on the 17th Street, and
Well,
decides
statements
he
have
wants
already started to come in. And, when it comes to the FBI Director Kash Patel himself, he has said that the FBI is on the scene there and he's supporting the Secret Service, responding to the shots fired near the White House grounds, and they will be updating the public as they're able to get more information. But as far as information with regards to this gunman that is now coming in, because the investigators hence suspect that the attack stemmed from his mental instability. However, a further probe into the incident is presently underway, and the gunman, identified as Best, believed that he was a incarnation of God when he opened fire at the White House checkpoint, and he's now been shot dead by the Secret Service agent. So this has now happened as far as immediately when it is being said that the officials who are presently investigating the case, and all of the details that would be shared with the people once they come out. However, the United States Secret Service has also come out with a statement, says so that let's put out what the Secret Service has to say on this latest incident, saying that shortly after 6 p.m. on a Saturday, an individual at the area of 17th Street in Pennsylvania Avenue pulled out a weapon from his bag and then began firing. And Secret Service police returned fires, tracking the suspect, who was transported to an area hospital where he was pronounced deceased. During the shooting, one bystander was also struck by gunfire. No injuries were sustained by the officers. The president was in the White House during this incident. However, no protectees or operations were impacted, and this incident remains under investigation, and additional information will be received as in when it becomes available. So Secret Service coming out with a statement and also talking about that, yes, this is also a security breach that is now being reported. However, investigation into this case is continuing.